Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on our webinar entitled Sell Out Every Time, the Expert Event Guide for Martial Arts Schools. I'm Miranda at Member Solutions. I have Sarah with me here, Jason and Adam, three expert presenters who are really excited to share some tips for you on how to sell out every event in under 5 days. So we're really excited to have everyone here. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview, introduce our speakers, and then we'll get going. All right, so we have Jason Morgan with us. He's the co-founder of Hyper Martial Arts. And if you're in the industry, you obviously know them as a leader and innovator that creates curriculums and media for top martial arts schools and athletes worldwide. We're really excited and lucky to have him on the call today. And then we also have Adam Kiefer. He's the president of Level Up Music and Level Up Action Kits. He's been in the martial arts industry for many years. He started martial arts when he was 3. He's basically held every position in the industry. So he has a lot of expertise on how to make your events successful. And he's helped thousands of martial arts schools with his kits for improving the way that they run Parents' Night Out. We also have Sarah McGeehan with us. She's our sales manager at Member Solutions. And as such, she is an expert in closing the deal. And so today she's going to share some of that expertise to help you sell out your events. If you have any questions for any of our speakers, please type them into the questions box on the control panel on your screen at any time, and we'll get to those at the end of the call. We have a lot of great information, so type in those questions, but hold them until the end, and we'll answer them at the end of the session. All right, Jason, let's kick it off.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Miranda, for having us on the webinar today. I'm always excited to work with schools from around the world. We launched Hyper back in 2009 and the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, and it's just been really exciting to work with so many different schools on their curriculum, on their events, and really just changing the experience of what youth martial arts is. Many of us, including myself and Adam, started out as kids in the martial arts. And grew from that to become school owners and instructors. And really, when we launched Hyper and the experiences that we work on, it's really, we look at it from what is it that we would want to have had as an experience as kids, and being able to do that and work with schools, just like the ones that are here on the webinar today, is just always really exciting as well. So what I'm going to go over today is from a training camps and workshop potential. When I say camps, I think of not only just week-long camps and summer camps, but additionally your one-day camps. And there's a massive potential there. If you look at what your average public school schedule is, there's normally 8 to 10 days that schools can host one-day camps when kids are out of school. And then if you look at the school schedule as well, there's normally about 15 weeks where you could host 1 week-long camps. And in addition to those one-day camps, there's obviously always opportunities to host Friday or Saturday workshops or camps as well. So when I'm going over all of the things and I'm saying camps specifically, think of it in each of those different models as well, because the strategies are going to be the same. And as we look at it in general, you want to make sure that you're taking notes in that and seeing where we can look at the big picture of how to really be able to create the experience. So let's talk about this. Right now, we're coming off of summer, and it's a great opportunity to really be able to recap with you, with your team, on what maybe worked and what didn't work, regardless of if you hosted summer camps or you just weren't ready. Maybe you're a newer school and you weren't ready to host summer camps, or maybe it's something that you hosted in the past and it just didn't work out for you before. So what I want to just do first is to recap on some of those quick challenges and things that we found as experiences from martial arts schools and ways that we can look to expand our camps in general. So some of the top challenges are, number one, instructors. Finding that maybe your instructors, you, yourself, or your team are just burned out, right? Like you're teaching long days during those summer camps, you don't have the support staff, or you're that small school and you're looking to build an instructor team and you just don't have the capability to expand to host some sort of a 1 week-long camp in itself. Number two, the number two recommended challenge, or the number two, I guess, challenge that we found is that that schools find that camps are to be unorganized. And with the curriculum and the marketing and everything, like you have all of these different ideas that are being sent out, or that you're grabbing information from different places, and you're just not organized in the structure of what it is that you should be teaching. And when that happens, you find that the curriculum becomes not fun for the campers. The students don't show progress in their abilities, and we find that the default, a lot of schools will, by the end of summer, camps just turn into, oh, they're watching a lot of movies and they're not doing much in their martial arts and they're not showing a lot of progress. So that's a big challenge that we've found as well. Number three is the flip side of that, is that camps that schools host are too difficult, right? The camps are too challenging, the curriculum's not relevant, maybe it's an old school or a traditional style curriculum, and it's something that the kids don't end up wanting to come back to. You know, I've made that mistake before as well. You know, you do this camp, you think every single one of your students wants to be a world champion athlete, and by Wednesday, their legs are screaming. They don't want to get out of bed, and like now the parents have already paid for it, and they're expecting their kids to really be excited about this camp, and the kids are like, I don't want to go back. I'm sore. I'm tired. And that's really the way to completely, you know, not pre-sell your next event and not to even have a successful camp as well. So being too difficult. Fourth would be that summer's too slow. Schools say that summer's slow, or the kids quit and do other activities. And in that side of it, we're going to tackle the pre-framing just in general, from what you're doing in your springboard to get ready for your summer camps, and to make sure that you have the unfair advantage over other schools and other activities, other camps in your area. And then finally, the other biggest challenge that schools reported was that they lacked professional marketing. Their camp wasn't on par with other activities in their area, from the videos that they were using, the commercials, the posters, whatever it was, the professional marketing, or that they just didn't have a professional marketing plan in general. So those are the challenges. Jot down some challenges that you may have had or that you see, but let's not get bogged down with the challenges in themselves. Let's head straight into some tips for success, okay? So the first tip that I suggest would be to host a team meeting. Discover the why. Just sit down with you, your staff, or if you don't have a full staff, to sit down with some of your assistant instructors or whoever you have there and figure out specifically why it is that you want to host camps. What are the benefits that you can offer? What are the ways that you can create a high value and what we call the USP, the unfair selling proposition, over other camps in your area? And during this meeting, this is going to be your opportunity to get your team buy-in as well. Get your team members' ideas and find out what it is why they would want to host camps as well. Maybe they're maybe as an instructor or a staff, they're looking for extra income during the summer. Maybe they want to see the students progress in this specific area here. But overall, it's going to be very important for you to create that strong vision with your staff and with your team, because they're the ones that are going to be helping you with the curriculum and with the actual physical teaching and marketing of it. And having them have that buy-in and get their team's ideas is going to be very important. And finally, looking with that team meeting side of it is making sure that all of your instructors and your assistants are going to be teaching some sort of new curriculum, obviously getting them on the same page with what that curriculum is going to be as well. So to recap that, I really say that strong visions really shape smart decisions. So you have to create that vision, what it is your camp's going to look like, what's going to be different from years past, and to be able to create something new for success. All right, number two would be create your outcome list. So in this meeting, and if you actually reference one of the downloads that we have for you during the webinar today, I give you what my list is, and I'm going to recap through that quickly. But at the bottom of that, there's a place where I want you to create your outcome list as well, because that's your list may be different, and your team are going to come up with different outcomes that are going to be relevant for your school, your community as well. So the number one outcome that I want to have with my students is that I want them to be motivated and inspired. They come off of a special event and they're inspired to do something else within their martial arts training. They're hooked on the lifestyle of martial arts. Number two, highly trained students. I want them to show a progress and that they're going to be a better athlete from the beginning of it to the end. Now, there may not be a completely massive transformation with every single one of your students, but we want to see that the students are progressing and that they're getting better. Number three is going to be you're looking at the opportunity for new students, whether that's new students that are coming off the street from a marketing campaign or off the Facebook from a marketing campaign, or it's coming from a referral. We find that a lot of times we have student referrals, but there's no opportunity for the students to actually train with their friend, the kid that they brought as a buddy. This is a great opportunity where they get to be in that same space and create martial arts friends as well. Talking about that, the martial arts friends, every camp and activity creates a stronger community in itself. Creating that community, creating that culture is very important for me. And so I want to have something that, knowing that the parents and the kids would never quit, because that's where all of their friends and all of their families are. And someone's never going to quit something that their friends think is cool. And when the parents have the opportunity to community network with other parents there, they're sharing that like-minded experience as well. Next is going to be amazing experiences. What's the experience overall? Kids a lot of times don't remember. I know I specifically don't remember every single martial arts class that I went to, but I do remember those extracurricular activities. I remember the times when our school went outside, we did things at the park. We remember those fun demos or those competitions that we traveled to. I mean, heck, I remember this camp that we went to, and we did like our beach camp, and like every single memory that came from that, and every single person that I trained with on that became a staple part of my martial arts training in general. So something that's different from the monotony of your regular classes. We want students to walk away with special products, awards, and achievements, something that's a reminder of their camp and their activity as well. Next outcome will be having upgrades or renewals, generating additional income. And when I say upgrade, it's upgrading sometimes just the mentality of their commitment to their martial arts training, not necessarily like a specific monetary value of an upgrade program or some sort of complex sales system. So upgrades and renewals are renewing their commitment to their training. Next is going to be creating new instructors and a support staff. We focus a lot with using your camp interns or your teen students, their up-and-coming instructors, as a way to test drive some new curriculum, as well as gives you an opportunity to train people within a safer environment where you have a little bit more flexibility to try out some new curriculum or practice different teaching skills as well. And the last two with this is that the students just have fun. Right? We want our staff and our students to try something new and to have fun, to have a really kind of wholesome experience or 360 experience with that, because the overall achievement of, if the kids aren't having fun, they're not going to come back. If the parents realize the kids aren't having fun, they're not going to come back. If the staff isn't having fun teaching this event, they're not going to want to do the next one. They're not going to be excited about promoting the next event as well. So just having fun and growing your business at the same time is really important. So that's creating your total outcome list. Like I said, your outcome is going to potentially be different than what I just explained there as well. All right, next. Important key to your success is create a camp grid with your curriculum. This grid that you'll see on the handout is something that specifically you follow step by step, so that your camp is completely structured on what it is that you're going to be teaching. And your camp curriculum wants to be something that's unique, something that's modern, and something that's relevant. What we found that in surveys with kids is your camps have to be something that's different than your regular classes. And there's three main things that we find that every kid loves about their classes: kicking, acrobatics, and weapons. So making sure that something within your camp focuses on that, or that your camp is focusing on all three of those as well. So kicks, acrobatics, and weapons is a great way to be able to take your martial arts training to the next level. Next would be in your class plan itself. We like to focus on having a 30-minute training session, so that you're rotating some sort of training every 30 minutes. You can sandwich in some snack breaks in between there. On those different breaks, it's a great opportunity for your staff to post to social media, whether it's a picture or video. That gives, built into your class plan and into your structure, your time when they're reminded to be doing that, because that's going to create your additional marketing for your future events. And there's nothing better that, like, mom, dad is on Facebook, or they're being tagged in your parent group and seeing what the kids are actually doing in that camp. It's going to be a great way for them to be able to share that as well. Adding in team building games is a great way to break up the regular training session as well. So you've got your training session, you've got a snack, you've got some sort of a team building game. Next on your curriculum grid would be creating your creativity time and projects. We don't want to just do all physical all of the time, right? We have to have something that's a different type of experience. We like to do different things where they're designing t-shirts, or they're coloring in posters, or they're making some sort of a creative poster that talks about the specific theme. Something that's an arts and crafts, I like to call creativity time and project. Something that's more of a structured free time within that, because if you just do physical back-to-back the whole time, it's not going to work. Like I said before, you'll end up burning out the students by the time they get to the next part of their activity, or the next day of the camp itself. So in this, making sure that your camp curriculum and that your camp grid focuses on not only what the student wants, which we found are the three main things for what students want would be attention. They're showing they're able to show that from the photos that you're doing or the posts that you're doing for social media. They're creating new friendships. They're doing something as an activity with their friends, and then finally their progress. They can actually see that they are getting better with something in their training, and that they're progressing with that as well. And then what do the parents want? The parents just want three simple things. They want to make sure that that it's going to be a fun activity, that their kids are going to be happy. Just overall, parents want happy kids, and then 3, that it's going to be value. So whatever it is that they're paying for this camp, you want to make sure that they're seeing a great level of value with that as well. Okay. Next up on the list, use professional marketing and professional themes. Professional, right? If we're just doing a one-off, if we're just doing something that is, using a clip art, or you're going off of some sort of an old theme, it's not going to be relevant. It's not going to be that high value. We want to make sure that you are able to charge something from $50 to $75 for a one-day camp, and on the national average from a one-week-long camp, from $150 to $250 for a one-week-long camp. How are we going to do that? It has to be professional. No matter what kind of a professional theme or package that you purchase from, a professional company, make sure that you have all of the bases covered with that. Okay? Or invest in it in yourself, but I can guarantee that the investment in that is going to be of a very high level as well, just because the production value of it in itself. Okay? So number 1, video commercials. You have to have a video commercial to be able to share on social media, something to be able to play on your lobby TVs, something to be able to send out an email. Video. A high-level video commercial is going to be important. Next, what's the shirt? What's the wristband? What's the deliverable that you're actually handing out, and that the students are getting as being a member of your camp? We like to, at Hyper, we have a specific theme. For example, like one of our athletes that we team up with is Hyper Pro athlete Danny Etkin. He's a teenage world champion, and he has a specific shirt that's Be Legendary. So the camp that we teach is a Be Legendary camp. All of the materials specifically tie into that. The students get a shirt that matches, and everybody's wearing a uniform specifically for that week. They earn wristbands, and it's just a simple way to tie everything together. Next would be your handouts and your posters. So your posters that you're putting up in your school, using high-level media for that, and then all of the handouts and flyers. Everything matches, everything's the same, and everything's branded in a specific way. The character development or the creative projects that you're doing, those things are tied as well into your theme. I know Adam's going to talk about this and tying that into your parents' night out as well. Everything just has a specific theme in the same way that any other sport or any other activity would have that tied into a branding that makes sense. If everything matches, you'll have a much higher value, and you'll be able to create a higher value in what it is that you're selling. If all of the deliverables, all of the commercials, everything ties together, it has a much higher perceived value. Then it's on your end to back it up with the curriculum and make sure that the experience is on par with that at your school as well. Okay, to wrap up, the 5th one, we call this the biology, the B-U-I, the biology on how to create high value. When you create the biology and you look at how it is that you're going to specifically sell this camp specifically, it's very important that you have a consistent message. Not only what you're selling and what you're explaining and what the value is to your members, but what is it that your staff is selling? What is it that they're explaining? If you're the main instructor and you're out teaching on the floor and you have someone at your front office, or you have an assistant instructor and someone's interested in finding out about camps, is the person that's talking to them really versed on exactly what it is, and so that you can have that specific, consistent message. The way that we do that is by having a presentation specifically done on your iPad. Having it there so that way you can go into the lobby, you can swipe right through it. You can see pictures of previous camps on there. You can see the exact specifics on the camp grid, showing everything that you're going to be doing, and that the messaging is exactly the same. Okay, so make sure that you have that with all of your staff. You want to make sure that you have the unfair advantage over other events, and you have to make sure that with this presentation and with your sales strategy that you're not only appealing to your members, to the students, but you're also appealing to both parents as well. So when you're creating your biology and you're creating your presentation, we focus on 3 things. Number 1, the why. What's that gut feeling? What's the way that you're inspiring your members and what they're seeing, the gut feeling of what they're going to get, that they're going to experience with the first thing that they see when they look at your poster, the first thing that they see with the video commercial that you're posting. That gut feeling has to inspire somebody. Number 2 is the how, the experience. How do we explain the experience? All specifically with that camp grid. The camp grid shows you actually show them, this is what we're teaching. This is what we're teaching every single day of the week, or if you're doing a one-day camp, these are the things that are broken down into 3 or 4 sections throughout that day, and here's exactly what they're going to be learning. They have their martial arts training, maybe they're working on nunchucks, then they have their character development. We're talking about what it is to be inspired or to be an inspiration, and these are the different types of character activities that we're doing. And if it's a 1 week-long camp, you're showing maybe the extra field trip that you're doing or something like that. Having a trip to the pool, or you're having the fire department come in and talk about bike safety or something like that. So you have these different opportunities to show everything just all in one. And then third is the what. So the why, the how, and the what. And I also like to talk about the what being the value in itself. What is it that they're getting? And then this comes into play a lot with dads specifically. Like the moms will, a lot of times we find that moms will want to know what the experience is. Are the kids going to have fun? What is it that the kid's feeling about it? But the dads want to know, like, what is it that they're getting? What do you get, right? Why am I paying $200 for this camp versus $75 for this one from YMCA that's Joe Schmo Karate that's teaching here in this program over here. Shout out to Joe Schmo. And in that, what is it they're getting? So the seminars, this is specifically what we're teaching. Then if you're doing an extra, maybe you're doing a bully defense seminar inside of this week-long summer camp, or you're doing this character talk specifically on empowerment. Then what is it that they're getting? Are they getting a shirt? What are the creative projects that they're going to be able to take home with them? Is there a DVD that's included? Are they getting photographs? All of that has to be incorporated into your sales presentation as well, so that you're covering not only the why, the how, and the what, so that you can make sure that you're appealing to both parents as well as to your students as well. So that was a lot. I went through that very quickly, but I also wanted to make sure that you download the strategy section. There's a great handout that goes through each of those different sections, as well as some pricing, and gives you a visual of what that camp grid looks like, as well as what your class plan can look like, and gives you a sample of some marketing as well. But if we go back to the very beginning of it, the most important part of it is to make sure that you understand the why. Why is it? What's the outcome that we're trying to achieve with it? Because if you try and start hitting the ground running with, oh, here's a plan that I downloaded, here's a plan that I purchased, and you don't get the buy-in from your entire team, or you don't look at what your actual outcome is, you're going to get to the end of it, you'll have done a lot of things, but you won't have a way to track and measurably see what your result is, to be able to check off and go, oh, we actually did this, this was a success. Or we didn't do this, and this is why this part of it wasn't a success. So overall, we find that camps are a very highly profitable way for you to generate a high level of income at your school. But by starting with that outcome list and working back from there, you're really going to be able to create that experience that's just really unmatched in your community. And planning out your entire year of events ahead of time. We're at a perfect time. We're in Q4 right now. So starting to do this now is perfect, whether you're hosting some one-day camps now during the school year already, or looking ahead for the whole school year. Being able to schedule that out and providing that high level of activities for all of your members is going to really create preference with your school over other activities in the minds of your customers. You planning and announcing that you're going to be doing summer camps now and starting your enrollments in November or December or January for next summer's summer camps is in the minds of all of your students right away. So that way you're not behind the times when it comes to spring and everyone's signing up for it. You'll obviously be able to capitalize on your spring marketing, but having it all planned out and ahead of time is going to create a high level of success for you. What we have with Hyper, we have over 30 different unique camp packages that include everything from the curriculum, We team up with top martial arts athletes and curriculum specialists to develop modern class plans and programs that are really broken down in a way that anyone can teach them. You don't have to physically be able to be the top world champion martial artist. The inspirational highlight reels and videos, those show those things from an inspirational standpoint, but from a very rudimentary or solid foundation structure, we're able to teach any member of your staff to be able to teach that type of curriculum. So that's really exciting. And then plus, all the marketing is completely done for you, from the high-level videos, commercials, and handouts. Everything matches, so it's, you know, finally like it's a package that the shirts, the wristbands, the certificates, character development, everything's branded, so it has a real level, a high-level value, and it's something that's just schools have a high level of success with as well. So just wrapping it all together as a package is something that we provide for schools, and I know there's a lot of schools that are on this call that we work with already. I know we've worked with Adam, with your family school as well, and so it's just really exciting to be able to provide that for schools around the world. So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them into the question box in there. We'll recap at the end with Miranda, see if there's any questions that we can answer specifically on that. But overall, the main point of it is that camps, whether it's one-day camp experience, a workshop-style experience, or 1 week-long camp, there's a highly profitable way for you to generate that income there at your school.
Jason, thank you so much. That was a lot of great information, like you said. I hope everybody had their notebooks out, took lots of notes, but if you didn't, there will be a handout which you can access through the webinar here at the end.
Perfect.
And you know, try to give some thought to the tips that you just heard and how you might apply them at your school, and do think of some questions for Jason, because we'll get to those at the end of the call. And now I'm going to turn it over to Adam to go into Parents Night Out and some of the planning process.
Hey guys, how's it going? So if you guys aren't familiar with me, I focus on creating done-for-you Parents Nights Out for martial arts schools, where they have minimal amount of work and time that they have to spend preparing for it. And if you guys think of events that you do at your martial arts school, I want you to think for a second and just think what comes to mind and what goes through your head when you start thinking about events at your school. Because I know a lot of schools is stress, or a lot of schools is freaking out because they have to tell their instructors they're going to have to work extra hours at the camp, or trying to think of different themes to come up with for different events, okay? And there shouldn't be any stress involved. But when I think back to the way that we used to do events 4 years ago at my brother's location, there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of last-minute planning, and the events, it was crazy. It was awful, okay? We'd have lots of kids show up, but we wouldn't know what to do with them. So we had to come up with a system that would work every single time for any event that we did. And once we created that system, our staff started looking forward to doing events. The events would sell out super fast. For example, the last almost 3 years now, we've sold out every event in less than 5 days. And that's averaging about 30 students and 10 to 15 guests for our Parents Nights Out that we do. And the system that we put together is awesome because we can now teach it to other schools and they're doing the same things. So what I want to start by going over with you guys is the planning aspect. This is usually one of the biggest parts of any event that's missing from martial arts schools. It's a lack of planning. In my mind, I think of it like you have to be almost like an offensive coordinator. So if you think about football, for those of you guys that watch football or played football, the offensive coordinator is the guy that puts together the game plan for the offense. And he starts watching tape of the other team and comes up with that plan, and then communicates that plan to the rest of the team so that they can implement it successfully. So you have to have some sort of plan. So what we use is we use something called a weekly action planner. And basically what happens is we start planning the event 6 weeks before the event is actually scheduled. So that means 6 weeks ahead of time we start thinking about, well, what are we going to do to market this event, and when do we want to do it? So we have an email that goes out 4 weeks before the event. We have an email that goes out the week of the event. We have social media posts that are going out throughout that time as well. We have our staff does usually like a funny or silly video that goes along with the theme. So we did a nuclear dodgeball night, which is like dodgeball and black lights. And the video, our instructors were sort of standing there talking about how they're excited for the event, and then one of the other instructors comes on the screen and he goes, "Why aren't you guys ready? The event's tonight." And then the black lights pop up and everyone's got like black light war paints on, and they just start chucking dodgeballs at each other. Different creative things like that helps to create excitement is what you want, but you have to schedule those out. Don't just wing it. Don't just think of it at the last minute. And going back to what Jason was talking about earlier, which I'm going to touch on a little bit, is the branding has to be consistent. And if you're not planning it out ahead of time, it's really hard to keep that consistent branding and that consistent image for that event. 4 weeks before is when you want to have your event outline. So this is one of the biggest things I see missing from seminars, Parents Nights Out, camps, is there's no outline of what to do. What happens if you're the person planning to run that event and you're sick that day? A few years back, I was supposed to teach a musical form seminar at my brother's school. And the night before the seminar, I was in a car accident, tore my rotator cuff. And I was obviously not in good shape to teach a musical form seminar the next day. Luckily, though, we had a plan written out of exactly what to do. It had been communicated with the person that was supposed to be assisting the seminar, and she was able to handle it, no problem. And she was not an open forms person, so she was more of a weapons person, but she rocked the seminar. We had loads of compliments because the communication was in place and the plan was in place as well. So it's so important that you have that, so that way your entire staff can be on the same page. If you have it done 4 weeks ahead of time, it also gives them plenty of time to ask any questions that they might have. So if you go over it with them and then a few weeks later they think of something, they can reference that outline and then ask you about it as well. Also, in that class plan that you have for your event, whether it's seminar or Parents Night Out, you also want to have what needs to be set up there as far as equipment goes. So that way you can double check to make sure you have everything ahead of time, and that way the day of the event, your staff can look at that class outline and know everything that they need to set up prior to the event starting, and that's going to help make it more successful, so that way you're not thinking the day of or the night before, oh crud, we forgot this, we have to run out and get it, because again, that just creates added stress. Also in your class plan that you guys have for your event, make sure you have designated roles. So make sure you have who's running what game if it's a Parents Night Out. We sort of like to rotate our team members running each game throughout, so that way it's not one instructor burning out their voice for 2.5 hours. And at the same time, it also allows some of your certified instructor team to sort of shine and do it in a way that's overseen by the person running the event. So all the roles should be who's greeting at the door, who's checking in people at the front desk, who's watching the kids on the mat before the event starts. All of that needs to be designated ahead of time and communicated to your team. Next, once you have the plan down, next you have to create an unforgettable experience. So going back to what Jason was saying, the branding has to be consistent throughout. Most of you guys are awesome martial arts instructors, not graphic designers. So stay away from trying to do it yourself, because here's what's going to happen. It's going to take way longer than it would for someone else to do it. You could have used that time to enhance some other part of your business, and also the final outcome is not going to look good. It's not going to look as good as a professional doing it, okay? So you stick to martial arts, hire someone else to do the graphic art. Even if it's going on Fiverr and paying someone on there to do it, that's still better than doing it yourself, okay? So save time and create that professional image. And as far as the branding goes, we're talking about like the flyer, we're talking about the theme of the event, we're talking social media posts, the video ads that you do. Everything has to sort of come together, because all the events you do at your school represent your business. So if your events don't look professional as far as the flyers and social media goes, that's reflected upon your business as well. And if you have guests that you're inviting to these events and that's their first experience of seeing some thrown together flyer that looks like it was done in Microsoft Paint, they're not going to have a high perceived value of your business or of your classes. Even if you have the most amazing classes in the world, it's not perceived through the branding of what you're putting out on social media and what you're putting out with your flyers. So that's super important. Even your registration, guys, should be branded. So even if you have a paper sign-up sheet at your school, it should represent the branding. If you're doing it in an event link, so something online that they can go and register with, that should resemble the branding that you have for that event. Everything needs to be tied together to create that professionalism. That's also going to lead to enhancing the experience of the event as well, if that branding is representative of it ahead of time, which is super important. As far as the day of, creating really a cool and unique experience is you need to do things that are different than your regular classes. You also need to do things that they can't just do anywhere else in the community. Stop doing movie nights. And I know like 30 martial arts schools just had a heart attack right now. Movies they can do anywhere. They can watch movies at home. They can go to the movie theater and watch movies. And I won't even get into the licensing aspect of being able to show movies at your school, but it doesn't create any sort of experience. They're just sitting in a chair watching the TV. They can do that anywhere. So what is unique about your events? If we're talking about Parents Nights Out specifically, what's the overall experience that they get there? Is everything according to the theme? So if you're doing a zombie Parents Night Out for Halloween, Are all the games sort of going along the line of zombies and that Halloween theme? Are they really creative things that they wouldn't normally do in the regular class? So if you do dodgeball at the end of every class and then you do a dodgeball event, it's really not going to be that special for the students because they're so used to doing it all the time. So that's super important. Also, make sure we focus on something at Level Up that we call interactive immersion. So when you throw one of our Parents' Nights Out at your school, we want to be so immersive that the kids sort of get sucked into the world or the theme that they're taking part in, and it's all they're thinking about. And we do these things called interactive audio drills, which are actually a game or a drill that has an audio cues that go with it. So, for example, we did a Star Wars inspired Parents' Night Out, and at the end of it, the kids would learn how to use the Force by the instructor, and then Yoda would actually start training them. Yoda would come on the speaker, start training them how to use the Force, and then at the end, when the instructors would come out dressed as a bad guy, and they'd hear the cues from Yoda, do the different Force moves, and defeat the bad guy. Well, I was talking to one of our clients that used it, and the kids were so into it that as soon as the bad guy came out, as soon as the instructor came out dressed as the bad guy, the kids didn't even wait for the cues. All the kids just ran and jumped on him because they were so involved in that world, in that theme, and in that experience that for a second was actually real for them. And that's what we want. We don't want your instructors to get assaulted, but we want them to have that really cool experience that they're going to remember and not be able to get anywhere else. And that's huge. Moving on, one other thing I want to touch on as well, don't just do coloring sheets for everything too, because I know some schools are like just coloring sheets for every event. Again, get creative with it, make it an experience. So it's okay if it's in there for a little bit, don't do it for everything. Next is the atmosphere. The atmosphere is going to help create that experience. So if you're doing a themed event, we have Halloween coming up, decorate, make sure your entire staff dresses up. If you go to Disney World and you go into Tomorrowland, you don't see everyone just wearing like khakis and a polo that says Disney on it. They're all dressed like they're from the future, and they're part of that experience. Same thing if you go to like Frontierland, everyone is dressed like that to create that experience. So you want that for your school as well. If you're doing a hyper camp, have your instructors rocking all the hyper gear to show that they're supporting it, but also that it's part of the experience, it's part of that hyper experience. For our zombie Parents' Night Out, our instructors will be dressed like zombies. A couple of them are dressed like they're like part of the military that are hunting down the zombies, and it's going to help to create that overall experience. So make sure your staff is dressed appropriately as well. Music. I am a huge music guy, and if you guys have been following me, you guys know that. We do themed music for every single event, and this sort of goes back to that Disney thinking. When you guys go to the different sections of Disney World, there's a different soundtrack for each section of Disney World to help bring in that experience and tie everything together. So our Parents' Nights Out, we do the same thing. We have a special Halloween DJ mix that we have for our Night of the Zombie Parents' Night Out. We have a special Star Wars themed DJ mix that we have for the Star Wars Parents' Night Out. And everything ties together into that theme. So as soon as the kids walk in the door, they know exactly what they're there for, and they have a great idea of what they're going to be able to do just from the atmosphere of it. Also, I really encourage you guys, before you have events at your school, even if you had classes before it, make sure everything's clean. So double check all the bathrooms, make sure garbages aren't overflowing. I'd clean off the mats, make sure everything looks good, because you're going to have guests coming in for the first time. And to be honest, they don't care if you had 5 classes earlier and that's your excuse for why the school's a mess. Make everything look really clean and smell really good before it comes in. We have like an oil diffuser that we use at our school, so it smells like oranges when people walk in. And we've actually had students that ended up going with us as opposed to another school because it didn't smell like feet in our school. So like make sure you guys are very aware of that, because not only for your events, but to make a big, really good experience for your classes as well. Lastly, Jason was touching on pictures. So make sure you guys Facebook Live like crazy. That is such a cool tool that you guys can use, especially for Parents' Nights Out. It's almost like, I hate to say it, but it's almost like a baby monitor for mom and dad. So if mom or dad are out, they can quickly just log into your student Facebook page and see exactly what their kids are doing and really quickly see that they're safe, they're having fun, and having a good time. Also, we use this awesome app called TouchNote, and I know there's some other apps like this as well. So TouchNote, basically what it does is it allows you to take a picture and then send that off as a postcard to any guest that came to your event. So what we do is at all of our events, we do a big group picture at the end. And then we primarily send that picture out to any guest that attended the event, but we address it to mom and dad. because mom and dad usually drop off the kids and they're not there for the whole night to see it. So we'll drop it off to mom and dad, and then you can customize the message on it. So we say, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith," because every parent is Mr. or Mrs. Smith. Johnny was awesome at the Parents Night Out. He was such a great listener. He had amazing focus, and I love that he had a smile on his face the entire night. We can't wait to see him back again, and thank you for trusting us with your son's safety for the night. We do something really simple like that, so it shows that Johnny had fun, Johnny exceeded mom and dad's expectations and had good focus or was a good listener. And of course, only put that if they were. If the kid was a brat, you're not going to put, "Oh, they had awesome focus." But be a good finder. That's where being a martial arts instructor comes in, and find something good that you're going to write about to mom and dad. But now that's going up on the fridge, and they're going to have that memory of the experience that they had at your school, which is really important. All right, last thing, and this is important for any event: urgency and scarcity. If you guys know anything about marketing, you've heard those words 1,000 times: urgency and scarcity. So how do you create that with your events? Well, first of all, like we talked about in step one, the planning has to be there. If the planning's not there, it's really hard to create urgency and scarcity. All the urgency is going to be on you just to throw the event in time if you're not planning ahead of time. So you have to have that part done first. Then the rest is super easy. It's a cakewalk. So many of our clients, when they do a first Parents Night Out with our system, they're like, "Man, that was the easiest event I've ever had to fill at our school." And it's because they had the planning down. So first of all, limited spaces available for every event. Okay, and how do you figure out how many spaces to have available? Well, it's about safety. So how many kids can you safely have on the mat or on the training floor being active at the same time? You can have an event that has 200 kids, but if 150 of them are sitting in line the entire time waiting for their turn, your event's going to suck. So you guys want to make sure that there's enough space for them to be active. So at our school, 45 is like the limit. So we usually limit it to 30 students, and then we allow each student to bring a guest for free. And from that, we usually get 10 to 15 guests coming as well that are non-students, and really, really strong prospects because their first time seeing our academy. There's no intimidation of having to wear a uniform, going on the mat, crazy karate yells everywhere. It's just they get to come, have fun, get to be a little silly with the instructors, and have a really good first experience that builds a lot of rapport with them and their parents. So make sure you always advertise how many spaces are left for your event. So we have an announcement board at our school, and next to the event, there will be in a small box how many spots are left, and every single day at the beginning of the day, we update that. So that way, kids are constantly be reminded. So if last class, Johnny asked mom if she should go, and she said, "Oh, I have to check with dad." Well, this class, he's like, "Mom, look, 10 spaces are gone already. If we don't sign up, we're going to lose out." And then what happens is all the procrastinators you have at your school, once that event fills up, now their kids are pissed off at them because they're like, "Mom, Dad, I've been asking you to go to this, and now we can't go because it's full." And then what happens the next time a new event rolls around, that parent is signing their kid up first because they don't want their child to feel like that and have them miss out on the events again. So that's super important to do. And once you guys start doing that and you advertise it in all your social media posts, how many spots are left, you announce about it every class, now you're building a culture for selling out every single event at your school, because as soon as a kid misses out on an event or gets put on the waiting list and isn't able to attend, I guarantee that kid's going to be one of the first 5 people to sign up next time. So that's super helpful. The other thing that we do that's really important, let's say we do a Parents Night Out tonight. At the end of the Parents Night Out, we open an early bird registration. We say, "Hey guys, since you took action and you guys were here for the Parents Night Out tonight, you're going to get the first chance to sign up for next month's Parents Night Out. The theme of next month's Parents Night Out is going to be this. And if you guys sign up today, you can reserve your spot, because as of tomorrow morning, we're going to open up registration to the entire school, and it's going to get filled up really quick." So what happens is, this is the perfect mindset that you want the parents to be in to register their kids, because they just got rid of their kids for 2.5 hours. They're picking their kids up. The kids are crazy excited and telling them everything that they got to do at the Parents Night Out. Mom and dad just had a fantastic, relaxing night with a glass of wine, went out to dinner, and they come back totally relaxed, can't wait to do that again. Well, now what happens is, since you're getting people signing up that night, you're going to start to have parents that schedule their date nights according to your Parents Nights Out, which is awesome. And one of the coolest things that I found from doing this is we actually see groups of parents that will go out together once a month every single time there's a Parents Night Out. And that's really creating awesome rapport between those parents, because I guarantee if one of those kids wants to quit, they're going to have a much stronger support group around them to help keep them motivated to stay in it. Also, I guarantee if the parents are becoming close friends, those kids are hanging around a lot more outside of karate as well, which means they're going to have a lot better social bonds. And you guys have all heard it, the kids that kick together stick together. So we want to make sure that we're creating those great social bonds within your school. And this is one of the best ways to do it, is by making sure that you're having that consistent parent night out every month. And make sure you guys do it every month, because the consistency is key. If you just do it every once in a while and it's a different weekend every time you do it, it's going to be a lot harder to fill up. But if parents know that it's always going to be the third Friday every single month, they can plan for it, and also it's going to be a lot easier to fill those spaces up. And the PDF that we have for you guys is actually a complete outline of our entire Parents Night Out system. So even if you don't want to go to our website and purchase it, I'm like giving you the entire system so you can look through and adapt it to any event at your school. And we use the marketing plan for every event, so it's not just specific for Parents Nights Out. You can use it for any event, and it's the same principles. You're just plugging in whatever the event is and whatever the theme is to make it work for what you're doing. If you guys have any questions, please post them, and then we'll go ahead and answer those at the end. Thanks, guys.
Adam, thank you so much. Again, some great tips. I hope everybody is thinking about their the events that they run, the planning that you do, the experiences that you show your students, and thinking of some really good questions for Adam, because you're going to have the opportunity to get those answered at the end of the call. And another great handout coming your way, and we're going to show you where to find those in just a few minutes. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to talk about the actual registration process, to the point where we've got people interested, we've done our marketing, we've done all our planning, and let's get people signed up.
Thanks so much, Miranda. Guys, awesome information. And I'm going to be super quick and respectful of your guys' times. I know that you're busy, but this is the one part. This is the one part where people get lost. This is where you've done all this backup work. You've planned. You've spent the money on the marketing. You've put it all together, and then you have a sign-up sheet at your front desk. Mom's usually dropping the kid off, or dad's usually dropping the kid off, or they're running in and running out to go to another activity, or whatever the case may be. But what you're also doing is creating a ton of work for yourself. Okay, so this person signed up. Now I have to jump off the mat or have somebody chase them down for the money, or whatever the case may be. It is really, really, really important to have an online landing page where people can go, that they can easily access, that is brandable with the same stuff that you've been putting out there on your social media accounts, having a photo or two of last events. Jason, that's great, scheduling that time in to take those photos so that you not only have them for the parents, you have them for your next landing page. This is what happened at our last Parents Night Out. Check out these kids. Video. If you can embed a video into your landing page so that they can just click on it and watch it if they feel it, they want to kind of see what the vibe is or how kids are reacting. Are they sitting there watching a movie? Or are they actually participating and beating up their instructor, which is exactly what they want to be doing, right? Let's be honest. So making sure you're scheduling in those pictures, but having a way to very simply, within 10 minutes, build a landing page and have it anywhere on your social media, on your website, in an email. Jason brought up Adam brought up another fantastic point, that on the last, when you're inviting people to register first for the event, because they came to your last one, do you have a way to send an invitation-only landing page? Because that's super important. Then you can go in when registration opens up and turn that off. And that way, people have to enter their email address in order to be able to access the landing page, and it will verify it. So having all those things in place are super important. Your registration process is just as important as everything that Jason and Adam said. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm a mom. Mom brain happens. Mom brain happens. If they sit down to register for something and it is not in here, and trust, and dad too. Seriously, dads do a lot too. But if it's not here, they're not filling it out. You lose them. They're gone. They abandoned that landing page, and no matter what you did on the front end, if you made it too labor intensive at the registration process, you've lost them. So making sure that you have, that reminders of, events that those kids have attended before, or if they've never attended, a glimpse into what they'll experience. So making sure that you're able to tie that in. Use the same imagery that you use on your Facebook page, on your website, on your flyers. If you have flyers, if you're going to do paper flyers, have a landing page that has a very specific URL that can be embedded into a QSR code. Everyone knows what a QSR code. So if they're at the Acme or whatever grocery store that you have in your part of the woods, they can just take their phone and scan that code, and it opens up the registration landing page. So that's really important, is to make it accessible, make it match everything else that you've been doing, and make it electronic. Make it electronic. That way you have a simple way to log in, see who's paid, see who's registered, how many spots are left. Everything is right there for you, and there's literally nothing you had to do except 10 minutes of upfront work. So just moving on real quickly, bigger is not always better. I kind of touched on this a little, and I wasn't sure in the beginning when we started talking about this webinar if we were going to do slides or if we were going to do video. So I have this awesome picture about the never-ending sign-up form with Atreyu on the never-ending story. So you can't see it, but I'm laughing. But you only want to capture the information you need. So with Parents Night Out, you're going to get into things that are like, I need to know, do you have allergies? I need to know if you have medical conditions. That stuff does not need to be on the initial landing page. In your confirmation email, have a secondary landing page to capture that information. So name and just that extra stuff. Those people that registered already paid. They're already invested. They're going to fill it out. They're going to fill it out. They're already invested. So now getting that information, make the initial registration snappy and make it stuff that they can answer right off the top of their head. And make sure that that's organized in a flow that makes sense. I have seen some landing pages that have been like member's first name, member's last name, parent guardian phone number, parent name. And you're just like, have your member or participant or registrant information top. Make sure that it's labeled as registrant, participant, whatever. Then have a page break. Make it sections. Make it totally uniform so that people know exactly what's being asked of them. Their brain is functioning. All right, right now I'm thinking about my kid. Now I'm thinking about me. Now I'm thinking about options. So you just want to make it super simple for them. We talked about a little bit location, location, location. Where are you advertising? One thing that I would like to put out there, Jason had mentioned, it is now time to be completing or building or thinking about events for the year. But make sure that once you start organizing them and thinking about them, that your member base, the public, whoever, can see what you have going on in the future. I think about summer camp for my kid in January. I want to make sure that I have the appropriate place for her to go, what she's going to do in January, because you know it comes in February and March, right? That's your tax return. There goes my camp payment, right? But what you want to be able to do with your registration platform is be able to show every single event that you have or are going to have, and not give the ability for them to be able to register until a certain date. So they can very easily go to your events tab on your page and be like, oh, yes, July 37th, right? Because that's a real date. They're going to, July 7th, they're going to start their summer camp, and that's exactly the week I need. That's awesome. Now I know it. Now I'm going to mark it off, and I'm going to know when registration opens for that. So I'm going to click on it. It says registration is going to open at this time. Right? So now I know to go on my calendar and my phone or whatever and have a little reminder pop up that on March 4th, I need to go and register for July 7th summer camp. And I'm going to be right on top of that because I'm also going to see how many spots are available right next to the name of the event. Okay? So that's part of the creating urgency too. So you had mentioned having that board. So that gives the kids, Mom, there's not enough spots left, right? But Mom needs to feel that urgency too. When she's clicking on it, it's like, all right, oh, look at that camp. Let me click on it. Oh, okay, all right, I'll do that later. Mom brain, not happening. Not happening. So making sure that they're able to see as soon as they click on your events tab, when they go there, how many spots are remaining, because then that creates the urgency for them too. You want to be able to give your registrants the ability to share on social media too. So making that a function within your landing page is absolutely paramount. They're going through, there's a little tweet button, there's an email button, there's a Facebook button, they click it. There's literally nothing else they have to do except start registering for the event. It's already shared. Everything's good to go. They can put a little blurb if they want to, or they can just share it. That is free marketing. On the average, people have 500, and I think that number that was from like 2015, that's probably closer to 600-700 now. 600-700 friends on their Facebook page. And if 700 of their friends are not already at your school, I mean, come on. It's free marketing for you. Have a wait list. Make sure you have a wait list, because if people cancel, you do not want to be scrambling to fill that spot. You want your landing page to do that for you, so that everything's being taken care of on the back end. You don't have to worry about, is my event going to be full? Okay. Real quickly, just make it personal. You want to customize that confirmation page after they've completed their link. You want to make sure that you're setting up automated emails prior and after the events are happening. This is a consistent reminder that you're there, and more events that are that awesome are going to happen. Create themed goodie bags. If you're having a zombie parents' night out, I mean, go to Oriental Trading Company. It's the cheapest place on earth, anywhere, and just buy crazy candy. Not too much candy, please, Mom. Pencils that are, zombie themed. You want little trinkets from Halloween. Just go onto Oriental Trading Company or whatever other place that you can buy these things, and just buy in bulk and have it in, a closet somewhere, so you can just build themed goodie bags, something tangible for them to take home, just like the t-shirt, just like the wristband, but something, that they can appreciate. Oh my gosh, what's in here? What's in here? I'm getting so excited. Thank your members in person. If you have the staff ability, call them and thank them, especially if they brought a guest. That is the best kind of reference you can get in any business, no matter what, is referrals from happy customers. So make sure you're getting these testimonials. Ask people to post testimonials about your event. Grab screenshots and put 1 or 2 of those testimonials on your landing page. Do not overwhelm and clutter. Just because I'm telling you videos, pictures, testimonials, sections, doesn't mean you have to have all of them. You don't need every picture on your landing page. 1 or 2 that shows 1 or 2 different types of activities that are happening, probably the creative one and then a physical one, just so they can see the diversity of what it is that you're doing. Call your non-members, thank them. Make sure you let them know that inside of their goodie bag was a coupon, or whatever you want to call it, a voucher for 3 free classes, whatever that is. Make sure you let your members know that inside of that goodie bag is a voucher for them to share. Make sure they write their name on the back of it. This is the best way to get people into your facility. So utilizing that goodie bag and having those email addresses within your registration platform, having the reporting capability to see who is a member versus a non-member, which should always be a question on your landing page, being able to sort and email just non-members at the click of a button. That has to happen. Members as well. And creating those future emails for those members versus non-members. That's pretty much the bulk of it. Being able to do it quickly, tying into your marketing and branding, utilizing video, photos, making sure you're establishing your members versus your non-members, making sure that the flow of the form of the landing page is set up in such a way that it's just like zombie brain work for mom or dad, whoever is filling that out. I don't even have to think about it. It just goes. And then making sure that you are keeping your members informed. Guys, share this on your social media. Make sure you share this on your social media, right? It's right there on the landing page. Click that button. Done. That's it. That's it. People can share it. Host a contest on Facebook. Make sure they share it and tag your school in there. And then keep track of it. It's a little bit of work for you, but man, the more often people are sharing that, the more non-members you're going to get real interested real quick, especially in camps. People need things to do with their kids in the summer that isn't sitting at the YMCA with Joe Schmo. Shout out. We have the handout available for you. Miranda, I'll turn it back over to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
That's awesome.
Questions that we've been getting. We have a couple of them here, so we'll try to go through them really quickly. I know we're running a little late, but I want to try to get to these. Okay, one of the questions that Jason or Adam, you might be able to field this. So what if you're limited with staff? How do you then handle running a camp with the number of students that you've mentioned, the 20, 30 range for a day camp?
Yeah, perfect. So I can jump in on that first. I think the one thing, I touched on it very briefly, but besides if it's a camp or a parents' night out or a one-day workshop, you know, I want to make sure that first we're not just pigeonholing saying camps, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, summer camps is going to be so far away. You know, those 1 week-long camps can also happen during the school year, or the one-day camps when kids are out of school for national holidays and things like that. Those are great opportunities for you to use those types of events as well. But what we like to do is offer like we call it like our camp intern package, and we look at our students that are in our maybe our instructor training program, junior instructor program, leadership program, whatever you call it. These are kids that maybe have done camps with us in the past and attended as an attendee, but this gives you an opportunity to have them have the same experience with camp itself, but what better way for you to approach a parent of one of your teen students in a way that you're going to help them to be a leader and develop their leadership skills than to be an intern for one of your camps, just like a camp counselor of camps of the past or something that you may have done. And in that, they get to get the full camp package. They either have a discounted rate, or I just go ahead and give it to them for free, in the fact that they're making the commitment that these are the things that they're going to be doing and assisting with within that camp. So it's very clear that these are going to be their responsibilities, and then this is the outcome that they're getting from it. Not only that they're getting the opportunity to you know, kind of take the camp and do some of those fun activities, but these are the things that they're going to develop. They're going to develop structure, how to follow a class plan, and builds them up in a way that's different than the regular, you know, holding pads during a regular class in your evening sessions or in your regular classes. So camp interns are a great way to start with that. What that also does is when you build that for an entire summer, you know, you have these 3 kids are doing week 1, these 3 kids are doing week 2, and maybe you rotate for week 3, and it goes back to the first set of camp interns, so they're getting multiple opportunities. When it comes to the next year, this is a far out looking plan. But when it comes to the next year, the people that did their best, and you do some sort of an evaluation and check sheet for them at the end of that event, the kids that did the best, or the interns that did their best, they're going to have that first opportunity to be a staff member for that camp and take over a paid position for that specifically. Same thing could come, I'm sure, you know, Adam, you have some feedback as well for the Parents' Night Out style events. You have different opportunities. You know, if you're working with teens, you know, making a little bit of extra cash is great. Paying for via, you know, gift cards or prizes, things like that. Different ways that you're showing appreciation to those people that are assisting you during that camp, but also showing that outcome of what it is that they're going to be able to accomplish and show that high level of value. You know, in an internship style program through your martial arts school is going to be a great way that you can build that up and build a staff and build a structure so that it's not just you doing every single part of that. So you can focus on the most important parts of camps and running your business as well.
I think Jason hit the nail on the head. I think the best way to go about it is getting one of your A students that you know is just eager for more responsibility and eager to be at the school more, and have them be your intern for that event. I think if it's an event that's not martial arts related, for example, like I wouldn't want a parent helping with a hyper camp necessarily when kids are learning like how to do tornado kicks and 540s and all that stuff. But for an event like a Parents Night Out where it's not as much martial arts stuff and more just games and activities, what we used to do when our school was small starting off is we'd find that superstar parent, and we would ask them if they'd be willing to help out in exchange while their child attend the event for free. But the same thing like Jason said is you have to make sure that you're letting them know what their responsibilities are ahead of time and that you're really clear about that. Because if you don't have that clear communication ahead of time, it can end up being an awkward situation. Because maybe the parents had a different idea of what they were supposed to be helping with than what you had, and if that's not communicated, then it's not going to work. But that would be another situation. But definitely, I would go with what Jason said first, though, because I think that's the best way to not only have someone helping that knows martial arts, but also you're giving someone a leadership role, and you're giving them the chance to grow and succeed and develop even more character traits, which is our goal with martial arts. And that's the best. I think that's the best way to go. And then if that's not an option, then find a superstar parent that might be willing to do it to trade their child's expense for that event.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think because we're so short on time, we'll just take one more question. And then just keep in mind, everyone, that if you have additional questions, you can feel free to email them to us at info@membersolutions.com, and we'll get in touch with everyone and get you the answers. So for our last question, maybe the three of you could weigh in on this one. People were wondering about following up with guests at your school who are not members. So what are some of the techniques for that and tips that you have?
That's a really good question. So the first thing that I mentioned was we do the Touch Note app with all the guests, so they all get a personalized postcard with a picture of their kid having fun at the event. The other thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that the following day, so usually if it's a Saturday event, we'll wait till Monday, of course, but that following day, we'll go ahead and give them a call and thank them for coming to the event. And then we just let them know, hey, since your child was a guest of Johnny at the Parents Night Out, he automatically is eligible for 50% off our trial membership, which is usually 6 weeks for $69, but he gets half off, and you get a uniform for free. And we also give you guys a 30-day money-back guarantee, so that way if your son comes in and tries it out and it's not for them, that's okay, and we'll be happy to refund the trial membership. But that way you're giving them a bonus for coming as a guest, and you're also giving no strings attached, because if they know they can get their money back at any time, then they're going to be more likely to do it. And I think in like the 2 years since we started doing the 30-day money-back guarantee, we had one person ask for it, and it was like when we did a crazy special online for like $7.95 for 6 weeks. So it wasn't anything huge.
So I would love to add to that too, is that once you do have that initial conversation about the discount that they'll get or the trial offer that they'll get or whatever the case may be, and poof, they're gone. You never hear from them again. A personal invitation, whether it's literally in the mail using some of the branding, or you're calling them again 3 weeks prior to your next event. A Zombie Parents Night Out, and then in November you're having a different, the Gobble Wobble, whatever, I don't know, something for Thanksgiving. You want to call and that member and say, hey, I know that you had a great time. We are doing this night. It's in 3 weeks. I hope that that's plenty of time for you, but we wanted to personally invite you and make that an additional to your 30 if possible, right? Count that in as one of your 10 to 15. Who am I saying hi to, Jason? You're on mute.
I think you're on mute.
So we're in our co-working space. Who knows who goes by?
You don't know them? That's even funnier.
I'm using. No, I know who that is. But yeah, I'm sorry. There's somebody trying to sign up for our next camp.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head with that specifically. I think that making sure that you have some sort of a management system that is that's organizing all of that, so you can tag your leads specifically, whether you're sending out an email, you're sending out a text message, you're giving them a call, you have to track all of that stuff, and it's important that you have a follow-up system that you're going to follow there.
Awesome. Thank you everyone so much for all the
This is
information
awesome.
you shared. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of information that we threw at everyone, so I want to tell you where those handouts are. First of all, if you look on the control panel, it should be near the chat box. There's a handout section. You'll see 3 downloads in there. Go ahead and download each of them. It'll recap everything that each of the 3 speakers told us today. And the other thing I want to mention is that, yes, you will get a recording of this via email. You will also get copies of the handouts since you attended. And also, as a special thank you for being live with us, you're also going to get access to a special offer that involves all 3 of our companies. It'll help you with your registration, with event planning, and best practices for camps and events overall. Really, so if you're interested in taking your martial arts events to the next level, this is going to be a great package for you. So please watch for that email, and we hope to see some of you again when you take advantage of it.
Again, any additional questions, shoot it over to info@membersolutions.com. We'll make sure that we get those out to Jason and Adam, respectively, or myself. And thank you guys so much for joining us again. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of awesome information.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for hosting us, and we look forward to talking to all the schools and instructors soon.
Sounds great.
Great, thank you.
All right,
Bye,
peace.
everyone.